As a nutritionist and also as the daughter and sister of chiropractors, I have tested and experimented pretty much with every single supplement you could imagine, and for as long as I can remember. And there are some that I found over the years that have been pretty useful and that I still use to this day, but then there's others, and really the vast majority of others, that I found to be a complete waste of money. So today I'm sharing the 12 supplements that I no longer take or buy as a nutritionist. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's in nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Element. More on them in a bit. Okay, the first thing that I no longer take is pre-workout. And I really didn't have a long, extensive history of taking pre-workout. I first started taking it when I first really started getting into exercising and training, which was around junior year of high school for my first triathlon. Because my thought was that, like, in order to be a legit athlete, I needed to be taking pre-workout. That's what everybody did. But I found that not only was it quite unnecessary because I had plenty of energy to power my workouts, but they also tended to make me feel really anxious. Probably because the high amount of both caffeine and sugar. So now I don't work out with any type of pre-workout, and I find that I perform even better without having that stimulus. Although if I do find I need a little bit of a boost, which really is like 1 out of 100 workouts of mine, if that, then I'll have like coffee or tea, and that's it. The second supplement that I no longer take is vitamin B12. Now, growing up, I also was a vegetarian from pretty much like, not right when I was born, but pretty young until about 14 or 15 years old. So it was really crucial for me at the time to be taking B12, and I actually really liked taking B12. We had those little sublingual ones that would dissolve under your tongue, and I don't know, they just like kind of tasted good. They didn't have any sugar, but I enjoyed it. Eventually, my parents did reintroduce meat to me around like 14 or 15 years old, so taking B12 just didn't become necessary anymore. But then a little bit later in life, when I was taking birth control for maybe like a year or a year and a half, my naturopath doctor found that I was really low in vitamin B12 from taking the birth control. So I then had to take it again as a result of those low levels. And since then, I have not needed to take vitamin B12. Because I eat such a diverse amount of animal-based food products where that B12 is really highly accessible, it's just unnecessary. And that's the thing with a lot of these supplements we're going to go over, is that they just really are redundant and unnecessary if you're eating the right types of foods. Okay, the third thing that I just really never take anymore that I actually used to take quite a bit is probiotics. I started taking these a lot when I was in college. This is when my gut health issues started to really amplify. I was getting really bloated and my stomach was not feeling good. And so you hear like, oh, probiotics, gut health, it's a good thing. So I tested out a ton of different types. I really liked the brand at the time, BioK, but it is unbearably expensive. I think it's like $6 per serving or something like that. It's nuts. And even though for years I tested out so many different types of probiotics, I really never saw significant gut health improvements. And it's because that wasn't my issue. Ultimately, it was because I was eating too often. My gut was not getting that gut health, gut rest. And it wasn't until I applied intermittent fasting that I actually saw major gut health benefits. And now I don't take any probiotics, like at all. The only probiotics I take are from natural whole food sources like my homemade Greek yogurt and sauerkraut. And for some people, taking probiotics is super counterproductive. Like if you have SIBO, for example, it can actually make things worse. So I'm not a big fan of willy-nilly passing out probiotics. They can have their purpose, their time, and their place, but just to give it to everyone can either be a waste of money for some or actually be detrimental for others. Okay, the fourth supplement that I no longer take are those like kind of sketchy electrolyte drinks. There's one in particular that I can think of back when I was training for my triathlon, the very first one back like junior, senior year of high school. And at the time, there weren't a lot of great options for electrolytes. The one that I ended up opting for was like this bright pink electrolyte powder where when you dumped it in the water, it was like neon pink. That alone should have already been a red flag. So many artificial flavors, so many artificial dyes and sugars, just no good. So it's been a while now since I've actually used those really sketchy type of electrolyte replacements. Now I only exclusively use Element, which is also today's sponsor. Element is the only electrolyte replacement company that I've been using for over 2 years now because they don't have those sketchy dyes and artificial flavors, and they don't have any sugar. It's just the electrolytes I need without all that junk that is typically added into other electrolytes. Plus, Element actually has the magnesium, the sodium, and potassium that is so important important for electrolyte replacement, whether I'm using intermittent fasting or to make sure that I'm getting the electrolytes after a tough workout or a lot of travel. I found that since I've been properly hydrating myself with enough electrolytes, my energy levels are so much better. I don't get those muscle cramps or muscle aches, and I just actually feel hydrated now. I personally love their unflavored option as well as their lemon habanero and mango chili flavors, but Element also comes in a lot of other different flavors too, like raspberry and citrus and orange. It's super easy to use, it tastes great, and I feel awesome. And right now, Element is offering my viewers a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single serve packets free with any Element order. It's a really great way to test out all 8 flavors, so you can get yours at drinkelement.com/autumn. It is only available through my link, so make sure to check out drinklmnt.com/autumn. The link will also be in the description down below. Okay, the 5th supplement that I was taking for a while, but I no longer do, is ashwagandha. I had really high hopes for ashwagandha because a lot of people that I trust in the wellness space were saying that it's really helpful for reducing stress, reducing anxiety, and anybody who's been following my channel for a while knows that I really struggled with anxiety for a long time. But I honestly saw no difference with taking ashwagandha. I know that some people say they do notice it, but I personally didn't notice any significant change. And because it's not necessarily cheap, I decided to stop taking it. Okay, the 6th supplement that I no longer take are mushroom teas or mushroom coffees. It's not that I necessarily have a problem with these, and there are some study benefits to them, but I do think that there's more of a case-specific use for them. Like if you're working with a naturopathic doctor and you have a specific need, then using actual medicinal amounts of these medicinal mushrooms can be useful. But because these medicinal mushrooms have gotten like such a hype for so long, there's all these products coming out now to try and like sneak mushrooms into everything, which sounds really weird to say. And typically the amount used is not really the medicinal amount that you would need to really see the benefits, but they do taste good. Like for a while I was using those mushroom hot chocolates and I did like them, but they do come with some added sugar. But again, I didn't really notice a difference from using medicinal mushrooms consistently. Okay, the 7th thing that I no longer take that I actually used to take quite a bit is Ltheanine. Now I'm actually a pretty big fan of Ltheanine. If you really struggle with anxiety, there is some research behind Ltheanine actually being quite helpful. And this is one that I was taking when my anxiety was at its peak. And I really did notice that it did help to level things out a bit for me. But now that my anxiety is a lot better, I don't take it because I don't need it. However, it was really useful at the time. Okay, the 8th thing that I stopped taking is CBD. This is another one that was kind of helpful in the beginning, and I talked about it in one of my very early YouTube videos as a tool to help with my morning anxiety levels. But I noticed it was feeling more like a crutch for my anxiety and not something that was actually helping. I wanted to actually be able to get to the root cause of what was causing my anxiety levels. And I noticed that when I was just relying on taking something like CBD or even Ltheanine for that matter, it didn't ever allow me to fully be able to assess what was going on in that situation and why I was experiencing such high levels of anxiety in that moment. So I kind of went cold turkey off of it, and I was actually able to figure out like, okay, I'm feeling more anxious these days. Rather than taking CBD, let's analyze what I did yesterday. What did I eat? How was my sleep? Did I work out? And from that trial and error, I was able to figure out more lifestyle factors to help prevent anxiety rather than using something as a crutch like CBD to get rid of it when I had it. I still might use it on a very rare occasion, usually maybe to help with sleep, like if I've had a really social evening and I need to wind down, but it's not something I use religiously at all anymore. Okay, the 9th thing that I never buy anymore are plant-based protein powders. The DIAS score is really low, and from a gut health perspective, which for me was a huge issue, I found that with so many of my clients who have gut health issues, they just can't tolerate plant-based proteins. Super difficult to digest. And I was really scared of whey protein for a while because I didn't grow up eating dairy. I thought dairy was going to instantly cause me to like break out and have acne and get really bad bloating. But then when I only use whey protein isolate that doesn't really have any lactose, I haven't found any issues at all, and I've been using it for years. Obviously, I love it. I have my own pasture-raised zero sugar brand that I made that I use every single day to make sure I get enough protein for my body and my needs. And it just tastes so much better, and it mixes so much better into recipes. Oh, like taste is everything. Which if you guys want to check out, out my pasture-raised zero sugar whey protein isolate. You can check it out with the link down description below or my website at autumnlnutrition.com/shop. It tastes so good in smoothies and in protein pancakes. Oh my gosh, I'm drooling, but like, let's continue. Okay, the 10th supplement I no longer buy ever, and I never will, are Goos or gels. Now, if you're in like the endurance community, you're very familiar with these, but if not, it's like these highly concentrated little sugar packets essentially that are kind of just exactly what it sounds. It's like a goo or a gel that you take while you're in mid-run to help give your body that extra energy to finish off your endurance race. Now, I previously trained for half marathons, for marathon back in college, and I did use these things and they cause severe gastric issues. And it's because they're loaded with such junky sugar. Like, they really don't hold back on those ingredients. They're fast-acting sugars that obviously for long-term health is not good. They also taste horrible because they're so sweet, and they tend to cause GI distress for a lot of people too. If I were to personally train for another marathon now, I would definitely never use Goos. Maybe that's like another topic for another video for another day. Okay, the 11th supplement that I never take are immunity shots. And these are those like pre-packaged immunity shots you'll find in the refrigerator section of Whole Foods or like a health food store that usually have a lot of seemingly great ingredients like turmeric and ginger and oregano oil and garlic. And honestly, those are all great ingredients. I'm just personally not convinced that something that was made days ago or maybe even like a week ago is going to be as potent and worth the money as something that I can make today right now. So when I'm sick, I do use immunity shots, but I make my own and they do really help, or at least they've really helped me. I do a combination of lemon juice, garlic, oregano oil, turmeric, and ginger, and it tastes awful. It burns, but wow, like I feel better the next day. Okay, the 12th supplement that I never buy, and it seems so benign, but I never use it, and it's multivitamins. Multivitamins, because you're looking at just like one capsule, you can really only fit so much into any one vitamin or supplement rather. So you're really not getting much of any one single nutrient, and it's just so unnecessary when you're eating nutrient dense foods like fatty proteins, leafy greens, avocado, chia seeds, fish. I prefer, rather than this broad spectrum little sprinkle of nutrients approach that a multivitamin is, I personally prefer to use more of a tailored approach and fill in those missing gaps. Like, I personally don't eat much fish, so I take fish oil. Or because soil tends to often be depleted in magnesium, I take magnesium at night. In fact, you should check out the 10 foods that I eat every day as a nutritionist with this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.